Well, I was very unaware of what eczema was before I actually contracted eczema. I've heard it before, I've heard that word, but I didn't really understand until I started researching it and going to the doctors to try to figure out what my condition was and why. Basically, eczema is a word that they put on any kind of a skin condition that's scaly or itchy or uncomfortable. Sometimes they call it atopic dermatitis, and it manifests itself in different ways on different individuals. Like some people will get a certain spot, it'll stay for a short period of time, and then it'll be gone for a while. And then some people, they'll get eczema and it'll stay for, you know, a period of time, long period of time, and you just deal with it. So I've been to 2 different doctors, had different medications given, and that didn't solve eczema. Eczema is something that I've been living with now for probably 5 years, and didn't have it growing up, but I did have a brother that had an issue on his face that would come and go and reoccur when he was a child and as he grew up to be a teenager. And my parents just, you know, dealt with his eczema. So I don't know, it might be a genetic thing. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But I know what I do, and I know how I live through it, and I know how I battle, what it is I battle. When I first contracted eczema, well, I'm in the hair industry. I'm a beauty consultant. I'm a hairdresser. And so for years, I've done it for many years. So this is my 37th year. Way back in the day, you know, we're taught all kinds of different things and exposed to all kinds of different chemicals maybe. You know, shampoos are somewhat a chemical, conditioners, things like that. But we're also exposed to hair color, perms, you know, things that take care of hair. And I never thought about it until, probably midway through my career, I met a woman who actually had to get out of the career because she was having skin conditions as well as breathing conditions. So I'd never even thought about it, never even crossed my mind because I was young and, you know, happy in my career and doing great. So once I met her and it kind of crossed my mind, it was in the back of my mind, and then about 5 years ago, like I said, I started to realize that I was having symptoms. My first symptoms were kind of like a rash. And at first I was like, wow, I must have tried a new laundry detergent and it made me break out in a rash. Or I must have tried some new soap or, you know, something like that. So the first thing you do, of course, is eliminate the thing you think it might be causing. And you do that for a while, and then you realize it's not going away. You know, you're trying to fix the problem by your smarts and try to make it work, but it's still there. So then you go and see your doctor, and your doctor says, yes, you have eczema or atopic dermatitis. And they give you a salve and they send you home and say, de-stress your life. There's some kind of a link between stress and eczema. And I can vouch for that. Actually, now that I've done it for 5 years, I know that it cycles. So for a period of time, you go along and, you know, you're just handling the uncomfortableness of it. And then when something big in your life or your family or your children or whatever happens, then you'll see a breakout or a new spot where it comes. And then you have to start treating it a certain way. And I now treat for beginning of a breakout or in the middle of the cycle or towards the end of the cycle of the breakout. So, and I don't, sorry to say, the doctor's ointments didn't, that topical salve didn't solve it. So depending on what's going on, I have like a little morning routine and I have a little evening routine. And That's what we do. You would think by showering every day and cleaning your skin every day that it would help it, but actually after you've done a shower and shampooed and washed and whatever, it seems to dry it out, which that's part of this cycle. What do you call that word? Cyclical thing. It also depends on where I am in the cycle of eczema. Like before I came on this trip up to Utah, I noticed that underneath my bracelets, I broke out. See? Right there. You can see that. That's a new breakout of eczema. When it first manifests itself, you get kind of like an itching rash. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've done it where okay, here comes the rash, and I don't wear jewelry or I don't wear clothing or what have you. It really doesn't matter. I'm sure that the metals or whatever's on the jewelry will encourage its itch, but I don't think it would keep it from coming or going. Does that make sense? So yeah, depending on where I am in the cycle, that's how I treat it. So if I know if I'm at the beginning of the cycle, I would wash it, and I use Dove soap, a nice kind of a non-abrasive soap. And then, well, like I have routines. I've tried different things. Now, if I'm in the shower, I have medicated shampoo sometimes that I use on my skin. I'll use that on my scalp as well as my skin. The product Paul Mitchell comes out with that's called the Tea Tree shampoo and conditioner, which kind of has like a minty feeling to it. I will use that. That'll ease an itch. I don't know if you've ever had profuse itching, but it's so annoying. If you're trying to do your life and all you've just got this itch that doesn't go away. So what I try to do, especially in the beginning stages, is to calm the itch. And a lot of times, like I said, I don't shower that much because it'll dry out your skin. And then I will add lotions and oils and things to my body in order to be able to keep going in my routine. Because, well, none of us want to stop and say, I surrender. You just have to keep going in life. So anyway, I've tried many things. Oh my gosh. I've tried salt baths way back in the beginning when it was so itchy and I was first coming to know the itch and trying to deal with the itch. I've tried oatmeal baths. I've tried, the difference between hot and cold water. I've tried anything and everything as far as our skin goes that you could think of. These days I find that the essential oils, companies like Now or Young Living or doTERRA, they all have different oils, if you would say, that actually work for me. And any particular morning when I go through a routine, it's usually applying 2 or 3 or 4 different things in order to start the day and to keep it going. With eczema, when it's in the later stage of the cycle, believe it or not, and the doctors tell you, don't pick it, don't itch it, don't. Really? The itch relieves itself once you get that extra skin off of it. It makes it like, oh, this is bearable, I can stand it. So, and you also address your clothing to it because you don't want the whole world to see your eczema flare up wherever it is. So, yeah. At this point in my life, I use in the morning. First thing, on a non-shower day, I would use tea tree oil, and I buy the organic one, and I rub that all over my areas that are affected, and then I wait for 5 minutes for it to kind of just settle in. And then there's a product, and you can buy it at any drugstore, Anusol HC1, which is kind of like an ointment, and it's an anti-itch product or an antipyretic. I don't know if you know any of those words, but okay. Done the homework, figured it out, it works. Those are anti-itch products. I'll put that on, And of course, your skin is inflamed, it's red, it's got blotchy spots on it. So of course, in the beauty field, you can't just go out with red blotchy skin that looks really like you had a major breakout. So after that, I will put on some makeup. And I've tried different types of makeup too. The one that I use now is, believe it or not, it's a concealer stick that I purchase any drugstore. CoverGirl makes the one I use right now. And it's like putting on lipstick all over your skin. And then you rub it in, but it's the color of your skin. And it takes away the color and the redness. Doesn't take away the raised area, but it just kind of camouflages it so you can go on with your day. And it works. Then in the evening when I come home, I usually wash down with a cool washcloth. And then I'll put lavender oil on. And after I do the lavender oil, I found that there's a product called Hydro 4, P-H-O-R. And I'll sleep with Hydro 4 on my skin all over. Sometimes in the middle of the night if I wake up and I'm miserable, like if you get it on your neck or your ears or whatever, believe it or not, I'll get up and put Vicks Vapor Rub on the back of my neck or my ears. And of course, you know, you have to cover your sheets or whatever so you don't make it's got a kind of a oily base to it, so you don't want to stain everything. I guess that's the best way to say it. But yeah. The best thing I do, I mean, I'm in chemicals every single day. And I'm sure if we got technical here, maybe a doctor would say, yeah, stop being in chemicals. That would clear up your eczema. I really don't know if it would or if it wouldn't. I can't tell you for sure. Because I'm still doing hair and I'm still in the chemicals and it's still helping people. And if I come across anybody that has any of these dermatitis situations, I'm the first to help them because I know how miserable it can be. And it actually does consume your thought process a lot of the time. You know, we go about doing life and handling family, handling jobs, handling routine, handling what we do, but the itch is always there. So you have to think about that too. They said somewhere in a website somewhere when I was reading, I don't know, years ago, that it could have also come about in regards to maybe it's genetic in your system, but your hormonal place, you know, as an older female, I'm sure that I'm past that hormonal spot. It's called menopause. But, you know, I don't know if that was what was the onset and brought it on. I don't know. I just know that, you know, somewhere in there it has to do with hormones. But interestingly enough, I've been in chemicals for, like I said, this is my 37th year. And from day one until maybe 30 years, I was in those same chemicals. And then all of a sudden, at one point, I become atopic dermatitis, eczema. You know, what brings it on? I don't know. Why does it come? I don't know. But I can tell you that stress shoots it into big flare-up. So if I was the normal eczema person, I probably would have gotten it way back. I don't know. Because I was in those same type of chemicals in 1982 than I am now. I mean, a little more updated, of course, but I don't know. Something within my body says, oh, here we go. This is the very beginning of an outbreak, right there. Okay, you see that? Mm-hmm. This is maybe a little bit older of an outbreak, maybe 2 weeks in. And then, believe it or not, this same arm, maybe 6 months to a year ago, was in horrible condition and literally cleared up. So it was not a thing on it until 2 weeks ago. And then if it gets really bad, I could show you the back of my neck. When it gets really bad, it's all the skin is red, plus the blotches, plus the raised, and It's miserable. Okay, the very first place I got eczema was right on the low of my back, believe it or not. Out of nowhere. I'm like, what is going on? This itch is so bad. How did that happen? How did that happen? Don't know. I haven't had a flare-up on my low back ever since. So it started there and went from there. This, maybe a year ago, was as bad as what my neck is right now. And then after it ran its cycle and I treated it and I dealt with it, it was literally clear for a year. And it's only been in the last 2 weeks that it started breaking out again. So what stress could be the only thing that makes me think that would push that into that part of the body. If I was going to have to put one name on something, it would have been the Hydro 4, which comes in a big tub and you can buy it by bulk. And it looks like Vaseline in a Vaseline container, but it is not the same consistency. It's almost an emollient where it kind of melts into your skin. And that extra little bit of, I guess, oil that goes into your skin helps you just go, oh, that feels so much better. So, and like I said, those different oils that I use from, right now at this moment, I'm using a lavender oil from doTERRA. And I use that in the evenings, and that's very helpful too. I had suggested a few minutes ago the Anusol HC1, hydrocortisone 1, which is an anti-itch product. I've also used anti-itch products that come in a cream tube that have oatmeal in them, or I should say ground oatmeal. Oatmeal has this ability within itself to calm the flare-up. I mean, I showed you my wrist. This is nothing. My neck right now is really bad. So if you wanted to see a flare-up when it's really bad, I could show that to you. But that's when you, in the middle of your day, you're just like, I'm so miserable. I will do anything to get rid of this feeling. And that's when you will stop and take care of with one of those anti-itch products. Every company has them. I mean, it's just like shampoo. There's millions of them. But, you know, you just find the one that works for you and you just stick with it. Well, when you get a sunburn, that hurts, but that hurt is a different feeling on that itch. Does that make sense? And so, depending on how bad your sunburn is, if it's a blistered sunburn, you wouldn't be touching it. But if it's just a red sunburn, it actually is soothing. It's a relief. Well, the uncomfortableness, of course, is, and then you need to have extra time, or you need to make time for yourself in order to treat it. That is a big part of it. You can't just walk out the door after your shower and go start your day. You need to handle what you do. If I had a member of my family that had eczema, geez, I would be helping them in some way, like if I could. In other words, I would, can we try this product? Or why don't you change your diet? I've done that too. Take all the dairy out of your diet and see what happens. Take all the, wheat and carbs out of your diet. No. None of that seemed to affect it, right or wrong. Drink more water. No. It just comes, and when it comes, it's here, and when it's here, it's miserable. So I think with helping a family member, you just have to help them to be as comfortable as they can be. And if that means helping them to find the right bath to lay in, because it gives them some soothing relief, you do that. When I am cold, I am more miserable with my eczema than when I'm warm. So in my world, it's better for me to be warmer, and that means either warmer with clothing or warmer temperature-wise or warmer in the sun. I also find that when I'm sweating, if I profusely sweat, it is so miserable. So for me to go and say, I'm going to go do a workout and I'm going to just run the track, and no, because by the time you're done, you feel like you could just literally dig your skin off. It's just that miserable. So there must be some kind of reaction that when your body is releasing that sweat that comes through the eczema part of your body or the irritated part of your body, that you want to die. It's not fun. Creams are a big help. Love them. If you're somewhere and you don't have anything to relieve yourself, you'll just go buy lotion or some type of a cream. My husband's brought in all kinds of probiotic lotions, everything in the world he could think of. You know, there would be something that you would do to help a family member. My husband's been very helpful through the years. And he'll just order in something, and they'll come in a little tub, and he'll say, here, try this. I've never really looked into psoriasis. I know that psoriasis, I have one second cousin once removed who's not in the family anymore that had psoriasis, and her symptoms were nothing about what I have. Hers was like a full breakout on her whole body all the time. So mine, it comes and goes into different places, you know, wherever it is, wherever it shows up. Hers actually has a literal buildup of skin, buildup. Whereas mine, I can take that buildup off. Hers is, I've even touched hers. It's not nice to the touch. It's very, very, I don't even know the word to describe it. Like
Scaly?
No, it's worse than that. It's like imagine when you fell down as a little kid and you had that horrible scab on your knee, and a week later you still had the scab and you're touching the scab. That's what it felt like, all over her body. It didn't look like that, but that's what it felt like, you know. That's why they give you an internal medication with psoriasis. You take something internal every day, and it does something from the inside out. Oh, yeah, profuse itching. Like they would just love to live in an oatmeal bath or a salt bath, just to relieve the uncomfortableness of it. When she and I were talking about it, her last name is Schultz. She's, like I said, she's my uncle's brother's niece. I mean, daughter-in-law or something. So she's a faraway relative. But when we talked about it, she would tell me that the itching was so profuse and all over her body, everywhere. And you could see it on her face. You could see it on her arms, everywhere. She was born with it.